Now we're ready for the zip. I hope you're all very excited about this. And the first thing to do is to join the little placket. So we're going to sew that around the lower edge here. And I'm also going to shorten my zip a little bit because they tend to be really long at the top. And we have a centimeter seam allowance, so they are all too long. And I'm going to make sure that it fits in here. I would advise you not to cut the zip just yet. I don't know why I did it for these instructions. I've never done that before, and I will never do it again. It made it harder to sew the zip in, so I would shorten it so that it is a little bit shorter than your placket at the later stage. I did it there, and throughout I will explain to you what would happen if you did it the other way. I've never done it like this, and like I said, I'm never going to do it again either. So you can secure it if you want to work with me, or you just leave this step for later. I'm just going to cut it off here. Both is possible. I know lots of people do it like this, which is why I thought, well, I'll try it, but it really isn't as good. So once that's ironed, serge the edge here, and now we're going to put the pieces next to each other so that we can see how they go together. So you fold over your zips so the teeth are now visible, and you pin it to the edge. And what you want to do is leave a tiny little bit of that overlocking showing. And it's exactly worked out to be then the distance of 1 centimeter seam allowance. And what we're going to do is put a holding stitch into the edge here so that when we put the zip in with a proper zipper foot, it doesn't move. And when you look at your commercially made clothes, you will find that stitching line. So the first thing to do is to put that on. You don't need a special foot for that. All you need to do is move your needle over as far to the left as it will go, and then sew down and keep going down to the end. Now, if you had the zip longer here and hadn't cut it yet, you wouldn't need to, move it up or down because the zip is longer and you can have it all open. So that is why I would not do it like this again, but it does work like this as well. So now we want to put the other side on and make absolutely sure that we have it in the right position, especially if you were making a dress and it would be longer. This step would be very important. So flip over your zip and then move the seam allowance up onto it and just put a holding pin in there, or you just hold it with your fingers. That's okay as well. I'm putting the holding pin in. And it's all okay like that, all looks level. And then I'm going to pin it on the other side. So now I can take my holding pin out and pin it again with just a little bit of my serging line visible. And that's awesome. Right. Now we can see if it's totally level. The shorter the zip, the more easy it is, of course. If you have a really long zip, you need to really be careful there. And I'm sewing that in exactly the same way, making sure that nothing pushes over too much, which is what it will try to do if you're using your zipper foot straight away. You shouldn't do that. This holding stitch is really, really important. And this is my lovely zipper foot. It's for concealed zippers and it's got a groove in the middle, and that's where my teeth are going to go in, and this little protruding point will just sit in that groove of your zipper. It makes sure that the stitch line is in just the right position so that not very much of the zip shows at all. A tiny little bit will show, but almost looks like it's just the fabric flashed to each other. And you can see that I can't go all the way down, and that is why I would suggest to cut the zipper later, because actually it ended up being about 1.5 centimeters higher than I wanted it to. I think it's fine because the zipper is long enough still, but it would have been nicer if I did it the other way. So now I'm doing the other side, and you can see how the little protruding tip here goes into that groove where you have your zipper teeth, and it just makes it perfect and so easy. Check that your zip is in all right, and you can see how it ends here about 1.5 centimeters above the pocket, when actually I wanted to end, just like slightly below, to be honest. Now I'm going to close the seam and I'm going to overlap where I put my zipper in. So just put a pin into here and then I'm going to pin it all the way down. Really is a nice zip to put in, but I would also say that you need a very good quality zip because these zips break more easily than standard zippers. They are nicer, they are easier, they break easier as well. So don't get one where you got like 10 for $1. They won't last. I've done that and I regret it. Every time I do that, I fall for the cheap offer and then I make a dress and the zipper breaks so fast. So now I'm going to sew up just with a standard foot. But I have got my zipper foot at the ready. That's the foot that comes with your sewing machine. You will have one of those in there anyway, so you should be fine. And you could put the zip in with that as well. I've done a few videos actually where I use that foot, so you might want to check my older footage, and I also can put that in the bonus video so you can see me put in the zip into different items so that you get an idea of the different ways that you can put a concealed zip in. So now I'm going as close as I can to that edge. There we go. Hold it really nice and firm. Remove the pin only as you're like literally on it. Really hold it tight here and then go up just next to it. Secure your stitches and that's it. Zip in. Next we can just open it up, check it out, and guess what? Now last little step that we have to do is to put under our little placket, and we literally just put it on the seam allowance of the back piece and sew it to that seam allowance. So very, very simple. It doesn't have to be a pretty stitch either because nobody is going to see it. And we'll have to open up your zipper in that position to get round. Don't leave the ironing to the end. You want to always iron after every step. And that is a beautiful concealed zipper. And now we're ready to move on to the next chapter where we're going to put on the waistband.